Shop Report with
Barbershop Jay.
What up, sports fans? Welcome to the Shop Report special presentation of the Turnbuckle. I, of course, am your host, none other than Double J, Creative Control J. And we have a lot to say and to get into in a very short amount of time per usual. And so without further ado, I'm going to get to my co-host, who is to my right, your left, none other than what you mean, Gully. From the CO Lumbus.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What's going on, Low Sports fans? Welcome to Turnbuckle Monday night, September 23rd. Without further ado, we've been a little late for you. My apologies. I bid you adieu. Let's go for it, man. Let's get right into it, Double J. How you feeling today?
Feeling wonderful. You know, all things considered with what time it is and how little, like, we're on the same schedule basically. So typically I would say at the very least I get you now a little bit when it gets to get a little long in the tooth and both of us start kind of nodding off at the seams there. So but right now, lively, we got the energy with us. And so speaking of energy,
yes, sir.
This didn't really age well, did it?
Ooh-wee. No, it did not. No, it did not. Hey, do you wonder if what happened to Vince in the preceding months, in or around things were going on with Diddy? Do you wonder if what happened to Vince kind of led them on looking furthermore at Diddy?
You know, there's a lot to be made about that, because obviously, having been around different segments of industry,
yes,
and the idea of gatekeepers and that type of thing, and kind of, you know, at the very least, understanding some vibes and hearing from friends alternatives and offers and things that were at least quietly confirmed, that may have kind of stunted their own success in their opinion. I'm not really that surprised. I actually thought it was the mistake he made was he being Sean Combs, is that he had spoken out about his liquor being shelved. And so again, just going off of some of the ideology or surrounded by that, is that basically they have these insurance policies. Right. Just all theoretical.
All right.
And so the moment someone steps out of line, of course, naturally you're entirely replaceable, but just again, from a hypothetical standpoint, and boom, now we pull that card and off you go. See you later. So this, to your point, though, that kind of ripple effect isn't really all that surprising.
Right.
So, I mean, it, again, surface level, certainly leaves us to ponder on some things. And certainly for those out there across all of the platforms, by all means, feel free to weigh in as you see fit as well. And naturally, we will throw it on the screen and speaking of weighing in and staying with Vince,
Yep.
he actually had this to say a little earlier in
Oh,
regard to the upcoming documentary, which I personally, I wasn't sure if he was actually ever going to provide a statement or simply countersue or anything like to try to shelve it. I didn't know what stance he would take, if any at all. And so this is our first topic of the day, which is actually, tell me, he did not just say that, coming from none other than Vince McMahon himself, which is, again, I'm going to read this in its entirety. This comes from his Twitter. I don't regret participating in this
hold
Netflix
on.
documentary.
No, you got to read it like Vince Kennedy McMahon. You got to read it.
You know, I will give you the honors.
Go ahead.
Oh,
you want me to do it?
Oh, yeah.
Don't regret participating in this Netflix documentary. The producers had an opportunity to tell an objective story about my life and the incredible business I built, which were equally filled with excitement, drama, fun, and a fair amount of controversy and life lessons. Unfortunately, based on an early partial cut I've seen, this doc falls short and takes the predictable path of conflating Mr. McMahon character with my true self. The title and promos alone make that evident. A lot has been misrepresented or left out entirely in an effort to leave viewers intentionally confused. The producers, who use typical editing tricks with out-of-context footage and dated sound bites, etc., to distort the viewer's perception and support a deceptive narrative. In an attempt to further their misleading account, the producers use a lawsuit based on an affair I ended as evidence that I am, in fact, Mr. McMahon. I hope the viewer will keep an open mind and remember that there are two sides to every story. How'd I do?
Fantastic.
Was I close enough?
It given 10:41 on a Monday night, I think it beyond past the test.
I tell you what, my man knows how to listen. If you want to define a shade of gray in the dictionary, put his face next to it. Because I'll tell you what, he did a great job at letting you know you about to see what you about to see, but it's not about to be what you think it's gonna be. And he's telling you, yeah, you're gonna see that, but that ain't what it is. Even though you know exactly what that is.
But it'll make you question, is it what it is?
He is the gaslight inside of every oven. You think about it, he's the gaslight inside of every restaurant. That boy stay lit and gaslighting you. You know exactly what you're about to see from him. And know exactly what that is. But he telling you, hey, they're gonna cut this, they're gonna edit this. And you know what? He's not wrong. He's not wrong. He is not wrong. There are going to be some deliberately let's say what they call it in the steering when you're veering left, there's going to be some deliberate overcompensation to paint him as furthermore the monster he is. For example, right? For example, it was, if you remember the biopic, What's Love Got to Do with It? You know, biopic story about Tina Turner and Ike Turner. That SA scene did not actually happen, but it was added to further demonize or demonstratize, if you will, Ike Turner's character. He didn't actually do that, but that's about all he could say he didn't do, considering everything else about his character that was depicted perhaps accurately.
Okay. He's
holding on to, no, I didn't do that. But what does it matter? You did everything else. So why not believe he did this? Well, this is what this McMahon is saying. in a sense, I believe. He's saying, yeah, they're going to tell you some stuff that I didn't do, even though there's enough. So it's almost like you don't really have to lie, but what's really going to grab this? What's really going to further make you feel a certain type of way about this character? So if we're talking about that biopic that I just named you, I'm going to tell you the effect it had on me. I didn't want to see Lawrence Fishburne in another movie for years. For a couple years. I really didn't like him because he sold that part so well. And when I saw that, even as a very young kid, that was very hard for me to watch. And I had a problem watching him on camera because that's how much it dove. That's how much it impacted me as far as his character or his portrayal of that person. If similar things are being done in this biopic about Vince McMahon, it's gonna make you feel a certain way about a guy that you already don't feel and understand. Just like to tie this in right to the picture that that we showed to our fans, to tie this in, Vince McMahon, I feel, is one of the 3 most influential public figures of the 21st century.
Wow.
In hip hop, Sean Diddy Combs is likely no less than 3. Perhaps he might be the most important figure of hip hop in the 21st century. We know what Bad Boy Entertainment's run.
Whoa. Over
yes.
Sean Carter?
Yes. Because their rise was hand in hand. Matter of fact, if you think about it, remember, what's Jay-Z's breakout hit? Now,
Hard Knock
we
Life.
know. Okay, guess who produced that track? Who was the EP? No, Hard Knock Life. That was Diddy. Remember, they both agreed that. I guess they don't. I think that's a gift to the culture. So sampling that, I believe, if for future artists who sampled that track, they can do it kind of like they don't have the legal the royalty or the copyright issues that they don't have to litigate that as much. And I'm saying it in general terms because I can't remember. I don't want to mistake the specifics, but basically that was a gift that they both said for the culture of hip hop. So sampling that song, you don't have to go through as much as if you wanted to sample any other song in hip hop, right? If you wanted to sample a song for a future track. But that was both Sean Carter and Diddy. You like I say, you look at Bad Boy, you look at the effect that Bad Boy has had on the culture. One half of the supposed East Coast West Coast war, right? Bad Boy, the launching pad for arguably one of the best hip hop artists of all time in Biggie, not to mention a stable of artists that were important to the culture even during that time. We know who Jadakiss is, we know who Style P is, we know who Sheik is, we know who the Lox are, right? Okay, remember it was Craig Mack before him. Remember it was Black Rob. Remember there was 112. Remember there was Faith Evans. Right. Let us not forget there's Mary J. Blige.
Forget Mace?
I did not forget Mace. I didn't forget. I didn't get the chance to mention Mace. And then before there was Bad Boy Records, there was what he did for Jodeci in 90s R&B. Like P. Diddy might be, like I said, I think he's no less than 3. So you figure P. Diddy.
Yeah, but wait a minute. See, this is feeling very Ric Flair-esque, right? What you referenced was a lot of the 90s.
Right.
Okay? But by the time you get to the turn of the century, we're talking a very different tune here. We're talking him with J-Lo. We're talking.
Who did she date in the turn of the century?
Well, no. Well,
right. Remember, after her breakout hit, after the Jenny, what was it called? This Is Me Then. Right? What was that she did in after Selena? After the biopic?
Jenny from the Block? What are we doing here?
But right before Jenny from the Block, right? That period from 1999, from 2000 to 2003.
Right, and you get to the I Need a Girl, coincidentally, with Usher.
Okay, yep, that was post breakup. But remember, what was she doing from 2000 to 2002? Besides being in the private studio with Sean Diddy Combs. That's right. That's part of the Diddy effect.
But this is the blueprint era. This is now we're emerging on the blueprint 2, and also speaking of sampling and iconic samples, a Tupac sample with his now girlfriend, who is then soon to be wife, right?
That's got nothing to do.
Ultimate. I'm talking about, of course, Sean Carter.
Right. Okay.
And then, by the way, speaking of production and who I threw in there, Big Brother was Big's brother. Drops in multiple iconic albums.
So like I said,
that ripple effect you're giving. Now, who owned Bad Boy by the time it was all said and done? Uh-oh.
Who owns Bad Boy by the time it's all said and done? Who?
Remember, they went through some financial issues, and ultimately
they did. That has nothing to do. So even if you give Sean Carter, even if you give Jay-Z, put Jay-Z in that list, he does no less for the culture or no more for the culture than Sean Combs. Because tell me this.
Which was first, Ciroc or Cristal?
Which was first? Which was first, Sean John or Rockaware?
I would actually give the edge to Sean John there.
Right.
In Macy's, no less. It was far more.
Right. So I'm saying, so even if Jay-Z is there, Diddy is as important, if not more. Yeah, Diddy was as important, if not more important, or more impactful. Let's not say important. No, they're both equally important, but we talk about the impact on the culture as a whole.
You said the 2000s, and this is where I I completely agree and empathize with you, but this feels very Ric Flair-esque. He cut his best promos, unfortunately, in WCW, not WWE. Diddy's best work came before the year 2000.
By the time, so who's Rick Ross's manager?
Oh gosh. Oh, why am I going to forget that now?
Yeah, I know you go forget it because we've been talking about him for 5 minutes now. It's Diddy. Maybach Music Group. Yes, he is. He's Rick Ross's manager.
No.
Okay, look it up. Go ahead. Feel free. Who was? If he ain't now, who was? It was Diddy. So
no, I got an Andrew. That's who I was thinking.
An Andrew?
Mm-hmm.
Andrew WK. That's a whole different genre of music.
No,
they were pretty good in the 2000s.
It was founded by Ross, but has been managed by several people, including Yvette Davila, the general manager of Maybach Music Group, Andrew Gertler,
I'm gonna tell you again. Sean Diddy Combs has impactful, if not more impactful, than Sean Carter on hip hop culture in the 21st century. His star faded some years ago, but I know we're a quarter of the way in.
That's right. Right. We are well past our break, but I'm allowing you under creative control.
All that being said, that's why it's
get us back.
but that's why it's still as predictable as it is. That's why it's still as let's say, mystifying, or it's still with great pause that it might be hard to listen to Bad Boy Records. We know who this monster is.
That's a lot of baby oil, Gully.
Yeah,
Put that on
I
a
know.
t-shirt.
Let me ask you a question. How many scandals have happened with associations to Sean Carter people that they've mysteriously retired or resigned?
Well, I think it's in our best interest that
Yeah, okay then. All right, cut the break then.
right. You can pursue that at your viewers on your own accord and at your own risk. Wasn't that a song? Something at your own risk. Play at your own risk, wasn't that?
Yeah.
In the 80s?
Yeah.
There we go. All right. And I brought us back just like that. And so, with that being said, I completely empathize and agree with you to your point that Vince does a fantastic way of trying to get you to potentially not totally agree with
Correct.
the narrative that's being portrayed, and at the very least making you aware of that there is a narrative, that there is potentially a motive that is a little cynical in his mind.
Right. The idea of it is he's not telling you not to look away, but he's telling you,
well, he participated in it.
yeah. So that's what I'm saying. That is a master. Well, I mean, remember, he did this in 1997. Brett screwed Brett. No, he didn't.
Mm.
And he told you that. And then went about creating a means to be able to tell you that. Like, listen, I'm willing to bet, if you ask me, Kim Kardashian, no. What's her name? What's their mama name?
Kim Porter.
No. What's Kim Kardashian's mother name?
Oh, I thought you were talking about Puffy's kids.
No.
Whoa. I almost said Caitlyn Jenner.
Well, that's true.
It's late. Wow, Chris, thank you.
Chris Kardashian borrowed from the Vince McMahon playbook.
Is she Jenner or Kardashian now?
Whatever she is. I'm gonna lean right into what you see and create that. He leaned right into what he created. It created a character out of a real life event where the fourth wall of professional wrestling fell down in a major way right on our TV screens, right? And in a major way. He did a curtain call himself. He contradicted himself by doing a curtain call in front of the audience and leaned into it and created an entire character, making us believe that what we saw was an act of fiction, when in fact he turned something serious. He turned something that was true about his character into something that can be entertaining and be entertainment.
Well, he did that a number of times, right?
He did it a number of times, but he didn't do it. He didn't do it.
Look, the title of our segment is actually because of one of those events.
Yeah. So that's what I say. I mean, he's masterful at that. He did not run away or necessarily. He's not denying what you're about to see in a way. He's letting you see it. He's letting you see it for yourself. But he already telling you, what you see ain't what you see. Even though you're looking at it yourself. Remember, R. Kelly said that's not me on that tape.
Oof. And from what I'm hearing, the other tapes make a particular tape that starts with an FD. Steam mild is what I had maybe stumbled across, at least what it said. So stay tuned for that, again, on your own IP address, certainly.
Yes.
And nevertheless, as Tupac once said, there's going to be some stuff you're going to see.
It's going to make it hard to smile in the future. Yeah. We'll
There
be
you
right
go.
back. We'll be right
got
back,
it.
guys.
Cleaning the cracks on your pavement surfaces can take hours and be torturous on your body. Until now. Cracky Weed Removal Tool was designed specifically to clean pavement cracks in a fraction of the time, all while standing up. Cracky's patented design incorporates a two-sided steel blade and is encased by a durable fiberglass shell. Simply use the large end to clean big gaps, then rotate and use the small tip for narrow gaps. Made in the USA, Cracky eliminates weeds to the root and is environmentally friendly. Cracky. Save your back while you clean your crack.
Right. And just like that, we are back. And back like we never left. Well, Gully, speaking of great returns.
Can we talk about breaking news?
What do you mean breaking news?
Breaking news.
Well, then I will get this off the screen. You didn't put it in a private chat. You didn't do anything. Go ahead.
Yes, it broke right now. We have a new Intercontinental Champion, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow.
Would not have believed it myself. I think all signs are pointing to we have a new Intercontinental Champion.
The Yeet, man.
And their name is, you go ahead and say it.
Oh, no. By all means.
No, you go ahead, because I can't remember if it's Jimmy or Jay. It's Jay.
That's
Jay.
cold-blooded, dude.
Yeah. Yep. Brand new Intercontinental Champion.
Well, all right. Spur of the moment. First thoughts.
Yep.
Go.
Actually, pretty good match. Actually, a much better match than him versus his brother. Perhaps maybe his brother's subsequent injury and absence from television since then is probably due to maybe a lingering issue or issue that was coming up, which is why that match was less than impactful. He looked pretty good in prime time. He looked really good. So did Braun Breaker. Stock rises in the loss, certainly Braun Breaker's did. I would like for it to be a feud because I think Braun Breaker deserves a longer run at the IC title unless they got him moving up to main event status pretty soon. And things move very quickly in the WWE or pro wrestling universe in the 21st century. So maybe that's the case. But I would tell you it was a pretty good match. Well done for a main event at Raw, or well done for a main event at a live event.
If you're shooting on this, which now we have to.
Yep.
Obviously, you just kind of laid out a potential pathway for Braun Breaker.
Yep.
What I find strange about that is he kind of pulled the John Cena with The Rock.
Okay.
And only to not have the title. And again, a lot can change, of course, from a production standpoint, but I'm curious what this does for Yeet, right? Who obviously you've had a combination of, the internal family side of things.
Yep.
Kind of externally.
Yep.
Saying, I mean, look, Rikishi was on record of saying he should have left the AEW. He should have already, basically pointing to knowns, very well knowns, right? His merch sales, his pop, all those different things. We've questioned a little of the in-ring ability, but not too much. It really kind of stemmed from Mania, right? Like you mentioned with Jimmy. But outside of that, clearly, I mean, I was kind of indicating even before Rikishi was that, the Fireflies were out. There were elements that I could clearly see that a push would have been warranted if
Right.
they had opted to do so. And so now, but what I find interesting about this one is trying to tie this all in with ultimately the bloodline potential wars going through
Right.
coming up soon, and then just really the direction, like what this does for Jay. Like almost I could have seen this going a different, like this would have been a lose-lose if, and it almost feels to me like a lose-lose. Like I get it, he needed something.
Yep.
I just don't know if this was the right thing.
Why you say you don't know if it was the right thing?
Because I feel like this is John Cena's belt. And I would have probably preferred to see John Cena and Braun.
Let me do you. Let me do. Wait, hold on. Wait a second. Why is this Intercontinental title John Cena's belt?
Detroit Fan Man. All right.
That is true. So something must be going on in Cincinnati.
Absolutely. We can if you'd like, we can
parlay that way for a moment.
I would say he's not referring to the Buffalo Bills and Jacksonville Jaguars because, of course, for those that don't remember, the Jags with Trevor Lawrence have not won since last year. And that's like Barbershop Jay and his wins. So needless to say, unfortunately, Trevor Lawrence is starting to do the opposite of what he was known for, coming through the high school and college ranks. And do you make a move, Gully?
With Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah.
This is his third season, right?
Mm-hmm.
First half year was under Urban Meyer. And we know how that went.
Yep. And just for context, he is referring to the Cincinnati game. And believe it or not, Joey Burrow, he may need to get rid of those highlights, bro.
I'm going to tell you what. The Bengals put up 33 points. They allowed 38.
In a loss.
Right. So what do you need to see from Joe Burrow to stop you? Do
you remember the 2002 Dallas Mavericks, Don Nelson?
Michael Finley. What happened? What happened?
Hang on a second. Michael Finley, Steve Nash, Dirk Nowitzki.
Yeah.
Great team.
Name me a great defensive stance that they had.
Oh, no. Remember, Don Nelson was on record saying our best defense is our offense. And I think that was echoed by like Mike D'Antoni in Phoenix like 2 years later.
And what and those teams have a total of how many championships with that philosophy?
Right.
0. Right? 0. So
this is fantastic, by the way. Are you seeing this?
Yeah.
First game since 1940 with no turnovers or punts, which is just for anyone. Look, I always find this kind of odd, right? So I had seen from the DraftKings space, free plug, that for this time, they were saying like, hey, you can bet a drive, right? The result of a drive.
Yep. Wow.
So coincidentally, to see something like that, knowing that's one of the 4 options, there are probably some very sour people, or there's somebody that finally caught on and maybe rallied at the end.
Gotcha.
Best rookie quarterback completion percentage. This is what is absolutely infuriating for somebody like me.
Why?
Right? Because on Saturday, so a mere 72 hours ago, I'm telling Barbershop Jay, Jaden Daniels was only capable of throwing one route. As someone who has Terry McLaurin, Scary Terry, and has had to suffer just letting him rot on the bench.
Yep.
I don't know what he did. He could have had 5. He could have done absolutely nothing. But to see the best rookie quarterback completion percentage,
yeah,
from a dude that couldn't do anything outside of running for his life the first 2 weeks.
Right.
That is why you have to keep an eye on the trends, folks, because once you think you know, you have no idea.
Oh, okay. Okay. Real world. All right, for sure.
And Joe Burrow's frosted tips look terrible.
You know, I don't know if I'm comfortable saying that.
I'm merely repeating.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm comfortable repeating that. It just reads funny. You know what I mean?
92% of his passes. What I would like to see actually is basically just a graph of where those went.
The Bengals had 0 pass rush. This is what I'm saying. So
I told you that. So those that watched Saturday, I said that 36% of the time across the entire league, which is the highest since like 1960, they're running the two high safeties, which is not new, right? But it's just by default. This is what Mel Kiper was flapping his gums about, saying they need to ban it. 4 for 100 and a touchdown. You got to be joking, bro. This is why I'm 0-3.
4
at least in that league.
Yeah,
4 for 100. So 10, 11 plus with the bonus, 4 for the catches. So now we're at 15. 6 more, that is 21 because of the touchdown. I will tell you right now, you will see 3 names on there. Shaheed with a goose egg. Ramondre Stevenson, 0.3. And I'm sure I would be able to find another. But I could have replaced with Bo Nix on the bench. Terry McLaurin. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why you cannot get lost in the moment and just focus solely on what you have seen. You have to keep digging and looking because, as I stated a moment ago, that is exactly what will happen right when you're ready to write everyone off. 4 for 100 in a tutty.
Yep. See, that's why I quit playing fantasy football. I just do pickups.
Who did you pick on that? Did you really pick the Commanders?
I picked the Bengals.
I did too, for a lot of points.
Yeah, well, you know what? My strategy is working now. Got a strategy there. And despite the Bengals not coming through, I still won the week.
What?
And now I won the week, bro. I've been second. Me and brother Rich been 1 and 2 last couple weeks, and I won the week despite the Bengals.
Quietly losing here too.
Yeah, I won the week. Hey,
listen, I ended up in third.
Marathon, not a sprint. I understand what NASCAR is. You just got to be within range, be within striking distance, Yeah. Oh yeah.
Boy, you really went with the Rams on that one.
Oh yeah. Oh yep. That's right. I did. Hold on, wait a minute. Yeah.
How did Megan and Bro Rich, of all people, picked Washington?
Yeah, they picked Washington. They did. I don't know how, but they did.
Boy, Barbershop Jay had a rough week.
Yeah, he did. Gosh.
Oh my. Well, long season.
I'm trying to think what my against the grain pick was. Oh yeah, my against the grain pick was the Rams. I'm gonna say that because me and Barbershop, because we great minds think alike. Yep, me and Barbershop, we went against the grain. Basically, a pick that I had that nobody else did. Yeah, I think that was my pick against the grain.
She's saying strategy.
What strategy?
Yeah, exactly. Same. Yeah, right. I'm wondering the same thing.
What strategy? Yeah, all right, you strategize. Yeah, I'll tell you what. That's what I'm saying. When you tell me, all right, in the regular season, high scoring games. See what you said. What you? Oh yeah, let me finish the thought. When you tell me high scoring games being left up to your quarterback to win them in the regular season,
okay,
I tend to lean less on that. Why? Because your QB, most important player on the field, your QB has probably largely done a great job at keeping your team within the game in the regular season. In the postseason, it's win or go home. So what defensive stops do we remember in the postseason compared to the great all-time offensively great plays that are made? Name me the defensive stop that encaptures a postseason. Name me a defensive stop that was like, yo, this here won the game for so on and so forth. But I can tell you this. Marshawn Lynch's run, the 7-9 Seahawks, Marshawn Lynch's his TD run over the Saints.
Yeah, Alex Brown, friend of mine, can carry his wife. That absolutely, yeah.
Right.
He was on the Saints team, absolutely.
Yeah, the Joe Burrow's drive in Kansas City to shock the Chiefs and advance them to the Super Bowl.
Oh.
Right. Wow.
Yo.
Right. But
I will say this. Go ahead, Golly.
This is what I'm saying. When I look at the conflict behind Cincinnati, I'm slow. I'm slow to put that on the back of Joe Burrow. Because
how?
Because for the second consecutive year, he's started the season without his primary rusher. When Mixon got injured 2 years ago.
Whoa.
Hold on. When Mixon
where is Mixon? It's not on the team.
Exactly. That was the leading rusher last year. Remember, 2 seasons ago when Mixon got injured, Samaje Perine was the leading rusher, and he went to Denver that season, and he was left with Mixon. Mixon is not here this season. So for 2 consecutive years, you allowed your leading rusher to walk.
Well, but Chase Brown looked phenomenal. Maybe not tonight because they don't put him in pass pro, but in general, he certainly is better than Zach Moss.
All right, great. So what are we talking about here?
What we're talking about
Zach Moss was the leading rusher? Do we think Zach Moss do we think Zach Moss is a leading running back in the conference, let alone the AFC North?
Not at all. Not for me. That's why I drafted Chase Brown.
So no disrespect to the dude because I don't know that he's there yet. I ain't writing him off like he a bum, like he started, like he's not going to be. But the point is, if you're the Cincinnati Bengals, you had a taste of the Super Bowl. You were a drive away from winning it. You're now in an uncomfortable position where, all right, teams that proven that they could be there now have the responsibility of showing up there again. The Bengals have been on the clock for 3 seasons now. The first of which is when they shown that they can do it by shocking the world and beating a Chiefs team that was probably on the verge of a three-peat back then. They have not yet even returned. Well, I mean, we know that when you're playing with the Chiefs, you got zebras to worry about. And now, and also in fairness, the rematch of the conference championship was down to a pass interference or a penalty that was not called. Or was called. It was a controversial call, and that's become the Chiefs' MO. in a lot of close games here lately. But the point is, the Bengals, elite teams, they have the responsibility of overcoming that. The Bengals have not. This is their third season now. They've taken less, right? You have conflict, it seems like, at your receiving core. You don't have the elite running back that can carry you through a division or can carry you in the clutch, right?
Again, I think depending on, and this is really difficult to say, but this is just in the moment right now without looking at a box score or anything. Zach Moss could have went off, but when I see that you scored a touchdown or a field goal on every offensive possession and did not have a chance to win the game, it tells me you need to make some sort of change.
Where? Offensively or defensively?
Both.
Right. That's why I said in this case, especially in the regular season, I'm slow to put that on the back of Joe Burrow. Because I'm looking at the other elements of a team that needs to be there in order to put Joe Burrow in a position to win. All right, remember, one of my favorite quarterbacks, two of my favorite quarterbacks. You know who they are? Eli Manning and Joe Flacco. What did they do?
Now they're both your favorite.
Two of my, I tell you, I'm Team Flacco.
I knew you were Flacco.
And Team Eli Manning because in the postseason. This is my point. In the postseason, when a defense is capable of making clutch stops and it comes down to making an offensive play, when your defense can put you within range, Flacco proved it in 2 postseasons. Absent of Lee Evans catching the end zone, they would have probably had back-to-back Super Bowls. And Eli Manning proved it in 2 postseasons by beating Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback of all time, in Super Bowls, and actually doing it statistically better in both Super Bowls, outperforming Tom Brady. When you have a defense that's able to keep it within range, your quarterback is supposed to bring it home. Both Flacco has proved it in the postseason. Eli Manning has proved it in the postseason. This is why, in order for that to happen, your defense has to prove themselves elite before you get to the postseason, such that your quarterbacks, because in those championship moments, are more like Mariano Rivera. You give it close to me, I can bring it home.
Well,
go ahead.
As Detroit fan man's weighing in, saying, watching that game, the Bengals need some emergency help defensively first. I mean, Cincinnati replaced DJ Reader with.
Exactly. Jaden Daniels was comfortable back there. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but you know what? This is where I'm going to defend them a little bit, just a tad. With when I brought up the too high safety look, it is daring teams to go over the top, but really more so saying go ahead and take the underneath. And allowing it, and as I told Barbershop Jay and yourself as well over on Saturday, that it's allowing teams to have more time in the pocket than they're accustomed to.
Okay.
And because they're taking those reads away, just by default, as long as you have some semblance of a pass rush, usually they get through. What we're seeing now with Cincinnati is that clearly they do not whatsoever. At least evidently, and that, of course, is a problem. A bigger problem, I would say, is this. Since 1990, 162 teams have started 0-3 in the NFL. Only 4 of them have gone on to make the playoffs.
What are they? In what years?
My guess is give me a Packers team. We would go with who else may have started in 0-3. It couldn't be the Lions. I can tell you that right now. Let's go 0-3 team.
Here we go.
The
1981 New York Jets.
Okay.
The 82 Tampa Bay Bucks. The 92 San Diego Chargers. The 95 Detroit Lions. The 98 Buffalo Bills. Neither of those teams.
That's a
Not
Doug
named
Flutie Buffalo Bills. Am I right?
that. I believe so. Doug Flutie or Rob Johnson.
Let's see, who do we got? 98 Buffalo Bills. Doug Flutie.
Yeah.
Andre Reed and Eric Molds are the receivers there. So that'll take, and then 95 Lions. I mean, Detroit fan man should know that. That should be, of course, Herman Moore, Johnny Morton, of course, Barry Sanders. All right. And with that being said, we'll take a full timeout and see.
We'll get right back to wrestling.
I'm Jordan Gudeman, and I'm the founder and CEO of Eddie G's Cookies. I was first diagnosed with a nut allergy when I was young. At the time, there weren't a lot of labeled items that said if there may contain nuts or there are nuts in the food, so my brother and sister and I baked a lot at home, and we enjoyed treats from mixes and things like that, but I noticed that it was not the same as what my friends were enjoying, and I started making up my own recipes. When it was time to pick a career, I decided to start a bakery so I could share my treats with everybody else. When I started creating my recipe, I was taking in all the things that I thought I was missing out on. A soft, chewy center, a crisp outside crust, and a taste that is just like it came out of the oven at a bakery. When I put all those things together, I had come up with a recipe for a dream cookie. Eddie G's Cookies only uses the finest ingredients. We have all natural flavorings, no preservatives, and every cookie is made in a nut-free environment. The best part about Eddie G's Cookies is that they can be delivered right to your door. You can share them or not. We won't tell.
What it do, sports fans? It's your man BSJ from the Shop Report. And guess what? The shop is now open for business, baby. If you're on Facebook, go to our fan page, The Shop Report, click on More, and then Shop to view all products. Or if you're on Instagram, click on the Shop tab to see all our products. I mean, what you want me to do? I'm selling merch here.
All right. And just like that, we are back. Golly, that was a little too fast. Is that one of those false alarms?
Nah, not at all. It was exactly what was needed at the time. And we should steer us back.
Kind of just like, wait a minute.
Hey, I'll tell you what.
What's that?
Yeah, he can if he doesn't have a pass rush. Remember, we are dealing with professionals here, and professionals with some type of potential are capable of doing that, Detroit fan, man. And clearly, if you don't have a pass rush, if you playing Madden on rookie,
golly, there's a reason it's never been done before. And I'm not.
Yeah, because they never had a pass rush. Right?
I mean, if I pass Denny Green here, they are who we thought they were.
Listen, it's never been done before. Well, guess what? Tell me what type of pass rush did you have tonight?
Well, if you're on the wrong side of history, chances are it wasn't a good night.
Nope. I'll tell you what, though. I'm looking forward to next Monday night's Raw.
You are?
In a match. In a match we probably have seen a time or two before. We've got Xavier Woods versus Rey Mysterio. Coming up next week. And I think we've got Kofi Kingston versus is it Chad Gable? I got it wrong.
Yep.
Okay.
And then we also have this slated for next week as well. which is a last monster standing match between Big Bronson Reed and Braun Strowman. Gully, if that ring does not collapse, we riot.
Yep, somebody ain't doing their job.
Okay,
That
production team behind the curtain, wake up back there.
Make sure now make sure that ring collapses at the proper time. We don't need them two to just get in there and then and just fall. Like, do your job. You know, I had that breakaway ring. Before
I hated that. I was so disappointed. I couldn't get it to go back together.
Oh man, you never played with enough Legos.
No. We're talking the old. Well, no, yes, with Legos. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, so if you play with enough Legos, you would know how to move the parts. You know what I'm saying? You gotta know how to move the parts back together for it to be just enough for it to break, and then for you to be able to put the match back together because you still had the main event that you had to do. Yeah, you know what I mean. But that's neither here nor there.
So with this last monster standing, again, I mentioned the security folks that were thrown around the week prior, last Monday's show, and also how they left no corner unturned. Better yet, one, which would have led them right to me, thankfully. So my media room was left untouched. So I appreciate that. But who do you got? You blowing out Joe Boo's candles? What's going on here? Or cigar?
The established guy or the new guy? Braun. I've got Braun. Not Braun's son, but Braun.
Oh, I was like, all right, what are we doing here?
I got Braun Strowman.
I'm like, how are you we're at this point of the show. You can't pick both. I'm torn. I am torn on this one. I could see it going either way. And I actually would be okay with that occurring. I would say give me a double disqualification or something along those lines. Let Butch interfere or someone, and we'll pick it up right where we left off at a PLE. Actually, and before we dive into any more of those, I wanted to get into this just really quickly.
Yeah.
So over the weekend, mentioned that as you see here, our favorite champion, Cody Rhodes, went to his high school reunion.
Yes, he did.
It would be very cool if he did attend Brandy's. I think that they allow significant others. And because that would mean he'd be right around the corner for me. And now, again, just based on the year here, he does have me beat. So Cody is older than me. Fantastic. I graduated early anyway. Does nothing, folks, by the way. Just you're better off, especially from an athletic standpoint. Just take the extra year. Don't know who I was competing with. Just don't rush. Anyway. Drake once said, make everybody go through security clearance in relation to the possibility of him going back for his high school reunion.
Yeah.
Is this the ultimate flex?
Yeah, if you want it to be. But really, this is indicative of who Cody Rhodes is. He's a guy that makes it. He's a guy that makes it.
Are you telling me you want me to believe right now he went there and said, what do you want to talk about?
I can tell you this. I believe that there is a bit of celebration at him doing this, but I find the haughty meter significantly lower for this guy.
Golly, who's the most famous alum from your high school? Other than yourself, of course. Play the humility card.
Let's see. We have Marcus Steele, who played for the Dallas Cowboys. We've had Brian Swift, who's the coach at Warrensville High School. We've got Gene Smith, the former athletic director at Ohio State University. And pardon me if I'm missing others, but those are some of the most famous, well-known alums from St. Peter Chanel High School, home of the Firebirds, Bedford, Ohio. It's now a field of dreams and memories. But yeah, those are some of the most famous.
Very, very cool. So
yeah, Bam Childress, matter of fact, Bam Childress. Yeah, I forgot Bam Childress, Mr. Football. Yeah, he also was from our high school. Super Bowl winner with the New England Patriots, by the way. Brandon Bam Childress.
There we go. Yeah, fantastic. Got kind of a mixed bag. So for those that are unfamiliar with the area, we have 3 high schools that you commute to all 3 buildings.
Okay.
And you have 10 minutes, at least, unless they have softened that and given them a little bit more time. That would be nice. We certainly would have appreciated that back then if they do that. However, so friend of mine, of course, Devin Thomas, Super Bowl winner with the Giants on Eli's team. Of course, Brandy Rhodes, as we've talked about.
Yep.
And another Brandy Love, Shop Report After Dark. Yep. Don't Google that, kids. And
let me put my phone.
And of course, Tyler Sagan, another nice, it was fun to cross paths with him as well. NHL star for the Dallas Stars.
Dallas Stars.
And I'm trying to think. Bazzi, the singer. Bazzi is the one that went to school with my sister, and I want to say there's an NFL offensive lineman as well. There's a few, and just about basically anything. The first ever drafted in the WNBA was from my high school as well. So just a very mixed bag.
The WNBA's first ever draft pick was from your high school?
Mm-hmm.
Really? All right. Well,
went to Tennessee. Mm-hmm.
Well, all right.
Absolutely. So, and of course, again, that's me playing the humility card. Actually, I did see that Brandy individual, but that's another story for another day, and not Brandy Rhodes.
Whoa. Yo, is that couch ready for you, bro? You might be on it.
Oh, no, she knows the story.
Wow.
It was at an intersection, all right? Not that intersection either. All right. Shop Report After Dark. No. We're not talking about that one either.
Hold on. Let me help you out. All right, what'd you say now?
I forgot already.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, and speaking of, oh my goodness, imagine that. Oh my goodness, someone has been signed to NXT.
Oh boy.
Another Bloodline member coming soon.
Yep.
Surprise?
No, not at all. Not at all. It's like Ohio State and the amount of Glenville High School alum that put on that scarlet and gray.
What do you think about Orlando Pace's son? I got the opportunity to meet Orlando and Carla when they were in Chicago.
Yeah.
How do you feel about reaching that stage where now the children are the legacies are hitting that, taking that next step there.
I mean, it's as great a feeling as you getting there yourself.
But I'm saying witnessing that, knowing that you watched the latter, like Moose Muhammad, right? Who was in Chicago, for a cup of coffee, got to know him as well. And of course, has been wildly successful on the business side for those that aren't familiar. Again, you know what? I will say this. This is why I always trust yourself, everyone. He was ridiculed in the Chicago Sun-Times. I'll never forget this about his investments, and specifically within the real estate realm.
Yeah. Yep.
Boy, did that flip on its head for the writer.
But you're right. If he you know what, it would be worthwhile to have a talk with him to find out exactly.
Dude, I'd love that. I would absolutely love that.
Oh man, yeah, because the idea of it is, and you've seen for yourself the level of ridicule that he had from those same strategies, from his plan, the skepticism and doubt and cynicism he received, only for it to work out in such a way where now he's flourished.
Yeah, again, he's in the Charlotte area. Of course, matter of fact, I mentioned this to someone a little earlier that we're starting to see a lot of high school coaches. I know you mentioned one that played at a high level. There's a team out in the Charlotte area that is coached by Greg Olson and a couple. I think Jonathan Stewart's a part of that coaching staff.
Oh, really?
A couple guys. Jason McKee, of course, is at Carmel in not Indiana, but in the Illinois side.
Right.
I got a couple. I got Albert Evans and a couple other of the Purdue guys over at Crown Point that went to a state championship in Indiana as well. So a lot of interesting movement going on. But Moose is still out in that Charlotte space, and again, he has that burger chain that is just on fire. And meanwhile, the Moose Muhammad III, of course, is at Texas A&M.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's as great as you doing it for yourself to see that your legacy has been influenced by you and your success, believing that they can do it too. Certainly with your help and encouragement, and maybe your efforts to put them in the right position, right? Which is only what you should do. Which, I mean, what's nepotism for, right? What's the whole purpose? But wait.
So I want to ask you about that just quickly, because we've seen this Brown Breaker. We've seen this Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton.
So what is the purpose of you? What is the purpose of you doing great for yourself when we say, "Hey, I want my kids not to have to go through what I went through"? In order for them not to have to go through what you went through, if you only say that when you want them to have more than what you had, or them not to experience the hardship that you have. How else do you do that? You take your success and you leave a trail for them you lead block for them. You become a fullback for them to flourish.
Okay, but something I want to ask you, because I seen this from Amon-Ra St. Brown's dad, who of course was, I believe, Mr. Universe at one point in time. And again, especially with kids in both sports and again, we're seeing this with some of the bloodline members that participated in other things. I mentioned on the previous show that one of the cousins is in collegiate volleyball right now. I think also coincidentally, was she at North Carolina? Strange, just based on what we were just talking about. But something he said is that, the coaches only have like an hour and a half with you, and that they're, as much as we say like, hey, I can't want it more than you, or, that's a classic cliche line. Or, just stuff that it's actually the parents' responsibility for their success, and that they have to actually be the one to push the kids. I found that a really unique kind of perspective, because I'm used to hearing really kind of the opposite. that you could give them some of the tools, but you can't really force them. And so what say you to that?
You're right. You can't really force them. Ultimately, those who are successful and are as successful as their all-pro, all Hall of Fame parents are the product of them, are the product of their work ethic. It's the product of their work ethic primarily. Or let's say if it's like a battery, in order for a battery to work, there's a positive and negative charge. But absent one, the other is ineffective. Just as effective as their parents' influence in terms of their success is their individual work ethic. And it shows up when you have, for example, Marvin Harrison Jr. being one of collegiate college football's all-time great receivers, like his dad was as a pro, if not as a collegiate receiver. But understand the opportunity for him to shine was probably because, this Marvin Harrison Jr., this Marvin Harrison's son. We saw what he did with Peyton Manning. We saw what he did for his career. So we'll go ahead and just give him a shot. Or we'll create a lane for him to be able to develop. Nepotism is absolutely, it does make sense. I would want for my success to be such that my work ethic and my drive and my vision and my presence is enough for others to consider my sons because they know who their daddy is. The idea of it is we're going to put the ball in your hands because we know someone from your name, you were with an influence of somebody who we know to be successful. Let's see if you can run with it. The problem is many people get the shot and keep the shot just because of who their daddy is. I'm saying give me consideration because of my nepotism. Allow nepotism to give you consideration, but it can't be. I don't think you would do yourself a disservice if you let that be the only thing that allows you to consider somebody. Again, like I'll put it this way. Steph Curry said it, casually even speaking. He says he probably wouldn't have gotten in the NBA if it wasn't for his dad. Steph Curry's work ethic is why he's one of the all-time greatest shooters. But he was 5'9", what was it? He's 6. He's undersized and undershaped coming out of Davidson. If it wasn't for Dale Curry, he might not have gotten that consideration. But because he was Dale Curry's son, they gave him a shot. And what did he do with the shot? He burned down the net. You follow what I'm saying? They go hand in hand.
Absolutely. No, that's a great point, and certainly worth kind of keeping in mind there for those in our various stages of life. And with that being said, we will take our next 30 and start diving into all empty wrestling.
Yeah, let's do that.
Maybe not.
It's Kate Cunningham, you watching the Shop Report.
I'm Homie Diallo, and you watching the Shop Report.
My name's Chris Murray, and you're watching the Shop Report.
Oh, you're Jay Knight, you're watching the Shop Report.
Max McKee, you're dropping in on the Shop Report.
Barbershop Jay, Quentin Hines, Super Bowl champion. I'm ready. Let's do it. I'm on.
Hi, I'm Mars Man, we're from Mercury Stadium, and you're watching the Shock Report.
Hey, I'm Billy Butler, and thank you for watching the Shop Report. Hey guys, I'm Les Norman, former Kansas City Royal, and you're watching the Shop Report.
Commander Brown, Detroit Rivers Mountain Training, and I'm watching the Shop Report.
Hey, this is Doug Flynn of the New York Mets. Well, a few other teams, of course, too. And you're watching the Shop Report.
I'm Matt Ramos, and you're watching the Shop Report.
How you doing? I'm Rajay Davis, and you're watching the Shop Report.
How you doing? This is Nelson Figueroa, former Major League pitcher with a lot of teams. You're about to listen to the Shop Report.
Hey, this is Howard Johnson. You're watching the Shop Report.
I'm Jordan Gudeman, and I'm the founder and CEO of Eddie G's Cookies. I was first diagnosed with a nut allergy when I was young. At the time, there weren't a lot of labeled items that said if there may contain nuts or there are nuts in the food, so my brother and sister and I baked a lot at home, and we enjoyed treats from mixes and things like that, but I noticed that it was not the same as what my friends were enjoying, and I started making my own recipes. When it was time to pick a career, I decided to start a bakery so I could share my treats with everybody else. When I started creating my recipe, I was taking in all the things that I thought I was missing out on. A soft, chewy center, a crisp outside crust, and a taste that is just like it came out of the oven at a bakery. When I put all those things together, I had come up with a recipe for a dream cookie. Eddie G's Cookies only uses the finest ingredients. We have all natural flavorings, no preservatives, and every cookie is made in a nut-free environment. The best part about Eddie G's Cookies is that they can be delivered right to your door. You can share them or not. We won't tell.
All right, and welcome back, everybody. Of course, we are reporting live, and so if I want to shout out everybody that is watching from, of course, Twitter, or otherwise known as X, Facebook, YouTube, and of course, Twitch as well. Gully, we have had a lot of heat that has came to AEW that has garnered the acronym All Empty Wrestling, or Always Empty. And here's an image that I wanted to show you that's been circulating. And as you see in that ring, it's, of course, Sheamus and Butch. Interestingly enough, again, this is not, to my knowledge, been doctored, is, remember, the brand is on fire, right? Said Mr. Shapiro.
Yep.
What say you to an image like this?
All right. I watched the main event of Raw just a few moments ago. It would be hard for me to figure out where an image, how to compare and get an image like this from a scene like what we saw from Monday Night Raw, which compels me to ask, was this a dark match before or after Raw? This image that you have on the screen.
Look, from what I've remembered, we've actually spoke about countless matches that these two have had. So if it happened to take place as a dark match, either pre or post, I would say, okay, I accept that, fine.
Right.
But unfortunately, I'm going to lean on the side of no, it was not.
Okay, could it just have been, we don't want to see Sheamus and Butch, and we'd rather go get pizza and beer?
You know what? That very well could be. Because you know, we've seen this. I want to say in AEW with Jericho.
Oh, okay.
There was a similar image that took place like when the match started.
Yep.
And then like immediately after the bell rung.
Yeah.
And it showed everyone, because again, unfortunately, it's just not, that kind of, if you think back to when, was it Edge? Was it Edge that said he was, who was it that Cody kind of took a
Yeah, I'm just here to help out the young guys.
Yeah. And Jericho clearly, at least in this immediate role, was kind of doing that more recently. And it just, that particular gimmick, if you will, is not really resonating. And so people felt like that was an appropriate time to use the John And
And we're
so,
not talking about
hey, right. So my thing is this. Look, we've talked about this a time or two, and about strategy
okay.
for these brands. And again, I'm going to go off the premise that the brand is on fire, and it's hard to argue that both are not on fire.
Right.
Because, of course, that AEW valuation.
Yep.
Again, from a third party, not from, Tony Khan. And so if I'm in upper management, and this may ruffle some feathers here, I don't care what this image when it happened. I'm looking at things and I'm saying, I have a proven model. And for those that have not had an opportunity, if you're in a business marketing class or just in a general business class, take a hard look at what UFC did to create kind of an infinity loop of content that allows the brand to kind of push both consistently and then also for their PLEs. And as we've heard with WWE and from just last week's show with that statement that they were going to put these PLEs out for bid, that historically, to my knowledge, may have not ever been the case.
Okay.
And what that really says to me is this merger is going to keep, the more things change, the more they stay the same, in a sense.
Okay.
You are really going to see the WWE take more and more pages from the UFC. And so immediately what comes to mind, and this is going to take you down memory lane with WCW. And matter of fact, coincidentally, with what was going on with Jim Ross more recently.
Okay.
Just paid to kind of not be visible. And basically bad deals. And if we talked about Roman Reigns recently and his run over those 3 years. So what if I said to you, enough of the traveling circus? This isn't 1970 anymore. So not only are we going to do away with house shows, Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown, not only are they going to be chopped to 2 hours, but they're going to take place at either the Performance Center in Tampa or the Apex in Vegas. Because again, these are internationally televised broadcasts. There really is no reason, right? Merch with e-commerce is actually far more profitable. Again, get your merch on our website as well. As you saw in our commercial, shameless plug. There really is no benefit. And we talk about taking bumps. You heard Paul say it a week or two ago.
Right.
More talk, less bumps. Keeping these with their feet to the ground. And now I no longer have to pay you, Roman Reigns, for all your travel accommodations. And you multiply that time, say 20, 30 people, right? We've seen this going back to the Total Diva days, that John Cena, of course, had a, charter flight. But for the others, they were taking a bus.
Right.
And they mentioned the tolls that would take on them. Well, if everybody stayed central and all you had to do was that same commute, no different than your typical 9 to 5, Dolly Parton.
Right.
Then my question to you is, that sounds like a way to save $300 million.
Right. Right.
Am I that much of a genius? Or can you try to put your creative control hat on and tell me why this simply cannot be?
No, it absolutely can be. And And I think that's the direction, right? It worked for the UFC. If the product is valuable enough and attractive enough, it's not attractive simply because I can go there to see it. It's attractive because I can watch it from anywhere. So those who are able to watch it live, that is great. But what happens is people want to be able to see it. They want to go nearby, right? The idea of it is you're getting more people from outside of the central location to watch the product than people at the central location to watch the product, right? And that's only stating the obvious. But if I'm in Columbus, Ohio, and I want to see John Bones Jones and Stipe Miocic, I'll probably be more apt to go to Dave and Buster's in Columbus than to try to book a flight to New Jersey to go watch it live. I still want to see it. It's still a social activity and it's still very much entertainment and it's must-see TV for the sports fan, the combat sports fan that I am. So if I can have a model whereby I can still generate interest in seeing my product and that interest doesn't have to be live and I can keep my talent better preserved by keeping them in positions where they don't have to travel as demandingly and they don't have to they don't have to travel their demands on time and travel and logistics, but I can still put them in a position where they can perform at their best because they're healthier and mentally more engaged, and I can still get the remote viewership from the sponsors that are going to watch it anyway. Why not do it? UFC proved it can work because the product is what people wanted to see, not simply where they wanted to see the product. They weren't trying to get to the stadium. They just trying to see it in a social atmosphere. That could be their home and their living rooms, which is why we got all these darn pay-per-view sports streaming networks, or at the sports bar. So it works.
Can I ask you this? Do you feel like at what you just pointed out, you may not want to go to Atlantic City, New Jersey, but what if it was in Columbus, Ohio?
Right. What if it was in Columbus, Ohio at the movie theater?
No. What if it was in the shoe?
If it was in the shoe, then I'd go. But that's local to me. But
see, that's what I'm saying. Like, because I'm going off of this. What this model does is it gives you a chance, right? Something that I think the general public are taking for granted right now is that the traveling circus comes to town. So you know what? If I miss it this time, if I miss SmackDown, then you know what? I'll catch Raw. If I miss Raw, I might get the holiday tour. But you know what? If that PLE comes around and I can get that chair and it could go home with me and I don't have to beat somebody over the head with it, but that's the only time they're going to be here at Ford Field or Little Caesars Arena. Well, again, that demand is now elevated. That price point is now elevated. So the same ticket that would have already been $450 can potentially double. And on the secondary market could arguably double again because they're no longer a commodity of being there. What's that?
Go ahead. Finish that.
The only concern I would have with this, and again, this is where even this point, I semi-struggle with this, because what it is a true pendulum shift. This is an ecosystem destabilizer. This is something that we arguably have never seen before. And I love the benefit of what it does on a micro level for your Ohio Valleys and, in other independent promotions. By allowing them, those pre-existing territories to kind of flourish in a way, kind of be your only outlet.
Yep.
But at the same time, that is a little bit of a dice roll, despite us being in a connected digital space.
I argue exactly the opposite.
Go for it.
Performers, entertainers, singers, rappers, What is the one thing that they love after they've established themselves as a worldwide artist? Has a multi-selling, has a preeminent A-list, maybe B-list artist. The idea that they can do a residency in Vegas, they can bring the same energy, same show every night, and they don't have to travel as much. They don't have to travel nearly as much. They don't have to do a world tour, because the world tour amounts to them going from their hotel or their residency, wherever in Vegas, and back home, because it's a world tour, because it is a different crowd every night. The different crowds come from the idea that you're going to have viewers tuning in every week. What we want to see as fans is filmed before a live studio audience. We watched The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air because we heard a laugh track and we heard a live studio audience go and see it. So we want to be able to experience that live atmospheric effect. But if we had a reduction in how much it costs the production company to do that, and we get better talent, hopefully that means we can get better revenue for the wrestlers, because they can see, hey, listen, I don't have to travel as much, but while I don't have to travel as much, I can still provide top tier level talent. You don't got to pay as much in logistics, but you can pay me a little bit more money. And then there's significant room for more revenue to be saved or earned by the company, and more revenue to be saved or more revenue to be spent and gained by the artists or the performers. And we're not talking about a total reduction of the PLE. We're not talking about removing it significantly, but reducing the amount of time it is, so that way the rarity does affect ticket sales, so that way they're selling out more because they're coming here less. If I know Raw gonna be in Columbus 3 times a year, I'm not sweating if I don't make it in January or in May or in October, but I know September is the only time they're gonna be here. I want to make it to that show. Meantime, if I really want to see live performance, I can see talent that I haven't seen before, I'll go watch GWA or Ohio Valley, Ohio City Wrestling, or Southern Ohio Wrestling coming to the Chillicothe Cineplex and near you. I can watch it because I'm like, okay, if I'm thirsty for live wrestling, I want to see it. I want to see something that I ain't never really seen before. Good luck. Hopefully everybody does their job. Then I can go watch it. But I see this leveraging this benefit for the benefit. But what I'm saying is, to leverage it for the benefit, we want to make sure that the talent does what they can do, agent-wise or whatnot, to go and get some more of that money that the company will be saving by having them travel less. And not the company spending the less travel as a benefit. Like, hey, you're on scholarship, so the experience of getting an education for free is the reason why we don't pay you. Like the legacy deals before the NILs and the NCAA, particularly when it came to football and basketball.
Absolutely. And don't forget, of course, traditional Southern wrestling there in Corbin, Kentucky as well, across many others. Again, I will stress this. If you have a local wrestling promotion, do not forget to tag yourselves on any of our videos. We will make sure we shout you out as well. I'm not sure if you saw this, Gully. I know you mentioned some of the tag teams back in the day. I don't know if you get there. One of the collectibles from Bojangles, so feel free to sponsor us, shopreport365gmail.com. And there you go. I have my collectible cup, one of many. I also have the Heart Foundation. I believe there's a few more than that. So feel free to send the rest, and I'll gladly demo it, and Gully will as well. I agree. I think this is where we're headed, taking it a step further. I think with the 2-hour thing, we were ahead of our time when we said with the draft that people should be going to NXT.
Yeah.
I think we were arguably a year ahead of time.
Yep.
because if you're struggling for TV time and relevancy, that is going to be your best way to get it. However, they're going to have to create something different because that is going to truly rival potentially, your TNAs, certainly your AEWs, and you're going to have to create somewhat of an Ultimate Fighter type of program that was originally what NXT was supposed to be, and what, that first season, if you will, was.
Right.
But you're going to have to, again, kind of go back to something along those lines. And again, historically, those guys have been very creative in doing something like that. I wouldn't mind some combination of reality TV, giving us a little bit of a better insight into who these guys are, and then seeing what they could do with their in-ring ability, see how green they are, and kind of watching them truly kind of evolve. And then allowing, of course, for character development as well. And again, that's where it gets really, really interesting, because technically you are breaking a wall potentially. And but we've seen this again. We've seen it somewhat done before, and with Naomi and some of the others that were part of on the Diva side of things.
Well, the WWE breaks the wall continuously anyway. I mean, you look at their original programming on the WWE network. For example, if we look at the Bray Wyatt documentary.
Right.
Okay. Understanding that ultimately the product knows what it is, and they're self-aware in that case. The suspension of disbelief only applies to live events.
So can I ask you this then, right?
Yes.
We remember this. We've talked about this before, and it's actually going to lead in our next topic here.
Yep.
Undertaker.
Yes.
Went from I can't talk to
I'm the most talkative person in the darn universe.
And I ride a motorcycle.
Which is really jarring for me, but that ain't where you went. My bad. I jumped in.
No. But it's true. It's true. Absolutely. But character development. If they go this direction, can you still do that? Like, is it time to blur the lines even more?
What do you mean?
Meaning, in the past, we've seen where people had to change names when they left the company.
Yep.
Should that no longer be the case? Basically, you own your masters. And that we get to, because of the fact that we live in a social media world, right? Where we've seen that, yes, Rey Mysterio had a larger pop than Dominic did at UFC, 2 Saturdays ago.
Yep.
And then Rey gives Dana White, his yep. Because we're starting to see that other side. Is it time to let go of some of that? And then I'll let you answer that first, and then it'll lead into my next question.
No, because I think it's done at an appropriate level. Though there are guys who don't need that. Like, did Dolph Ziggler really want to keep his name? Did Nick Nemeth really want to keep his WWE name when he set his own course after 20 years with the company? Considering what Dolph Ziggler ended up being in his final stages.
Yeah, but who was Joni Lawler? Or, who was Joni without being China? She was lost.
Yeah. But imagine, see, what I'm saying is, it seems like largely it worked out. Those who kept their name when they left, largely it worked for them. And those who changed it, Mercedes Moné. What's wrong with that compared to Sasha Banks? Like, would she have been any?
Yeah, but don't you feel like you see this with like I would say athletes regularly? Athletes struggle to basically reinvent themselves after they've retired and find purpose in who they are because they were defined one way for X amount of time of their life.
Yeah,
and
Shannon
so
Sharp got that problem. That's Baba shit.
Well, I talked about character development.
Yeah, you ain't lying. Breaking the fourth wall, he broke that.
Oh no! Oh. And the
My
fifth
bad.
and the sixth. Oh no!
Woo. Hey.
Oh no! Shop report after dark. But that leads into my next topic here, which is whether we loved them or hated some of those folks that you mentioned. Who is someone that is undeniably universally loved? Name a wrestler that just hasn't ever, that everyone loves.
Let's see. I like to do this in classes and tiers, if I can.
I'd love that.
Challenge. All right. First name that when you asked the question earlier, and I knew this was going to be a question. You didn't know who my answer was, so you're going to hear it now, of course. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. I have not ever, in the years since he's went behind the scenes, I have not ever heard of a single wrestler or fan or backstage guy who's had a negative thing to say about him. That's number one. Yeah, Ricky Steamboat. Let's see who else. But again, he's a guy who is a great character. But if we think about his run, like what was the ceiling that he reached? When did he ever have when was he ever WWE, WWF World Champion, WCW World Champion? He had great bouts. Intercontinental Championship was about what was his ceiling, right? So then we look at I don't know who's ever had a problem with the Brooklyn Brawler, but this is a name whom he was enhancement talent, and he was a guy who, he was enhancement talent, but he was a guy who I want to go see the Brooklyn Brawler. Who was like, yo, I want to go see the Brooklyn Brawler, right? Who's a guy who was like, who was John Cena that everybody liked? Because John Cena's got his fair share of people that don't really vibe with him.
Whoa. Run that by me again.
Like who was John Cena? Who was the John Cena status? John Cena status figure in professional wrestling that everybody liked. Like, was John Cena universally liked or respected?
I would say respected, but I don't know if he was truly liked.
Okay, what about Sting? Sting might be a guy.
Did anyone really hate Mick Foley?
That's another one. I don't think so. I don't remember him having a stage where he didn't want to do business with somebody or he didn't like him.
But no. I'm taking it a step further. I'm saying from the fans.
Right. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't ever remember someone outside of Eric Bischoff.
Yeah. All right. Hey, let's see. Show us what Detroit Fan Man said. I think we got a comment. It's incredibly difficult to get to the top of anything while making everyone like you. You got to have haters to get there. Right. Okay.
And you know what? John Cena is obviously a perfect example of that. And he embraced that hate towards the end there, I would say.
Yeah. Triple H, I think, did. I think Triple H thrived off of it. I don't think Triple H could have done it if he tried to. See, to me, I think Triple H is a guy. He's the opposite of I don't care. I think he cared that people hated him. He needed to be anti to be great.
Did anyone ever hate Shawn Michaels, though?
Oh, God, yeah.
The people hated Shawn Michaels?
Yeah. Ask anybody from Canada. That was real.
Oh,
to understand that during the height of that, understand that the Hart Foundation was DX in the United States. The Hart Foundation was DX in Canada, more accurately. I didn't recognize that at a point they were the heels down here, but at the same time they were the heels down here, they were the fan favorites up there, and it was exactly the opposite. Heck, it was at a point where Kevin Nash didn't even get along with Shawn at a point. Well, I can't say he didn't get along. Wait, Shawn was annoyed, or Shawn annoyed him. Certainly got under his skin.
Interesting.
And aside from
Stone Cold,
Stone Cold. Let's see. I thought Ahmed Johnson, I think, had a problem with him, but Ahmed Johnson had a problem with everybody, and a lot of people had a problem with him. So I'm not sure how much weight that carries. I was going to say Sid, aside from Arn Anderson.
Okay.
Sid was a guy who was quite aptly described as a gentle giant. I mean, he was a huge dude who certainly could have been much more of a bully, of a hard guy to deal with. He could have respected people less and got away with it. You follow what I'm saying? But he apparently didn't, unless you got in the way of softball. So yeah, I think he's another that was at a time. He was a guy. He had 2 runs as champion at the top of both of the major level promotions, and was universally respected.
And that'll be one I'll have to chew on that one some more. But I think Mick Foley is the one that if I had to just pick one, because I don't, naturally Mark Calloway comes to mind too, but I just feel like someone out there probably somewhere along the way didn't like either even himself at one point didn't like the gimmick.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be too far of a stretch of imagination, but because of Mick Foley's, what he understood, which is what he was doing, the lengths that he was willing to go to, and again, the versatility by way of his own character development by having more than one, made it a little bit more difficult for you not to
right, my man.
Certainly appreciate what he had did, and then so yeah, I'll leave that one with my final answer will be Mick Foley, and then I wanted to ask you this too. We've had 2 good championship runs here, at least in terms of tenure.
Okay.
And of course, I've mentioned the A&E show, WWE Rivals, on more than one occasion.
Yep.
But if the show were to stop today, the traveling circus, as I've called it, who would the episodes that would be reserved for Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns be as their championship defining rivals?
You said it.
No.
For Roman Reigns, it's Brock Lesnar.
That's his all-time rival there?
Yeah, because how else would he have established that he's
I'm saying during his run, during his title run.
During his title run, right. I feel like it's Brock Lesnar. You know, people have a problem with Brock Lesnar being such a part-timer and having the runs that he had, but Brock Lesnar was viewed as unbeatable, unstoppable, and because of his UFC background, he really was legitimately a threat. For me, there was no other guy that Roman Reigns could beat to establish himself as the guy. Since he did not have the amount of matches against John Cena, it would have been Brock Lesnar to legitimize his run or legitimize his position as the defining star of his generation. I think it's Brock Lesnar.
Now, all right. And I think that was the softball. Who's Cody Rhodes?
He ain't got here yet, but it would probably be it'd have to be Roman Reigns. See, I don't know how many runs Cody will have at the top of in the Universal Championship space. I'm not sure. I don't know. I think he may be. What I can say is, I think he's a guy who could possibly have a single long run, and then that'll be kind of it for him. At the same time, I think he's a guy that's capable to have a championship rivalry. The way that they're booking him now, it looks like Roman Reigns will take that back from him next WrestleMania. They'll do it for a third time, and it will be epic. And Roman Reigns will come back. Will come back. Like I think I hit it. I don't know if we were on the show already or if it was before the show. I certainly think that Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes can do something that they tried to do before. Have three consecutive WrestleManias with the same main event. You know, I have a rubber match, if you will. Cody and Roman can do that. Like they tried to do it with Shawn and Brett, but you saw what happened there. They tried again with, let's see, didn't they try this again? Perhaps with Brock and Roman Reigns. I think it was almost there, but Roman Reigns had the I think he had the medical issue with the leukemia. That affected it, I believe, and I could be wrong with that. But Roman and Cody could certainly do that for three. I mean, you almost had it with John Cena and The Rock with two back-to-back WrestleManias. But yeah, Cody Rhodes' defining rival would be Roman Reigns. Though I think it should have been Seth Rollins, but
again, I think it's still a little too early. I don't believe it'll be Randy Orton, but I believe Randy Orton will have something to say before this is all said and done. I will give Solo his flowers here for not this past Friday, but the previous Friday. That was actually a quality match. I said I will give credit where credit is due.
Yep.
And so I wanted to make note of that. Also, quickly on the AEW side, of course, wanted to shout out Ricochet in that match. I know you got a chance to see that as well.
Yes,
that certainly made our match of the week type of must see there. If you haven't, there was not a botch, right? It was
not a botch. It was misunderstood. Because the hand stomp was sold so well, it looked like it was supposed to be a kick to the face. Or yeah. And so that's where it was missed. Because if we look closely, we'll see what's our guy name? That was Lady Russell Beast. What?
Oh, that's right. Oh my gosh, Beast Mortos. That's
Beast Mortos, right? If we look at right before the stomp, if we look at the way he moved his hand, and his hand kind of, I would say, somewhat strangely, got a little bit further from his body in the seconds before Ricochet stomped it, or the seconds before Ricochet was supposed to kick his face, we can see that, in my opinion, it looks like, okay, the stomp was supposed to happen. The stomp was actually what took place. He just sold it in such a way you thought he was supposed to kick to his face. It was like he no-sold the actual contact, but sold the injury afterwards. That's why it looked like a botch. But it's a matter of timing.
Agreed. And I thought it was fantastic.
It was. The top rope move, if we look, shooting on it, the top rope move, the problem that I had for me was Ricochet gave a little bit too much help in taking the bump. Typically, if you're trying to show that, usually you'll see a lot more, punches back and forth. So it makes it look like there's a fight and he just doesn't win the fight, if you will. But we understand there's a high risk move that the move itself is executed finally. Now that the Irish whip and the flip into the slam, that was not on the ropes. That was or not off the turnbuckle. That was excellent. The bump that Ricochet took, I believe, off of he was kind of walked to the ropes and then off the
right.
Yeah, that was fantastic. That was fantastic. Ricochet having the freedom to actually get out there and perform inside of the Spirit Circle, which is, I think, largely what professional wrestlers want to do anyway. I think they understand what the gimmicks are, but they're not theater actors. They're trying to do anything that can get them ring time, such that when they have ring time, they can deliver on the art that is professional wrestling. So for Ricochet moving to AEW, it gives him opportunity to do what he wants to do inside the Spirit Circle, which is, I think, his point. That's why he'll take AEW with the smaller audience, because he truly wants to wrestle.
Right. Good. That's a good point. And again, before we take our second to last break, of course, our last large break, I do want to shout out everybody. Of course, you could see us right there on X live, right in that corner. So by all means, we appreciate you joining. And of course, weigh in, right? That is why we are here discussing all things within that squared circle. And so we will see you back in just a moment. And of course, if you want your company here in that upper corner, or of course on any of our placements, by all means, email us direct, shopreport365@gmail.com, of course. And don't forget, the merch is available, shipped direct to your home across the country. See you in a minute.
SK Cunningham, you watching the Shop Report.
I'm Homie Diallo, and you watching the Shop Report. My name's Chris Murray, and you're watching the Shop Report.
Oh, you're Jay Knight, you're watching the Shop Report.
Max McKee, you're dropping in on the Shop Report.
Barbershop Jay, Quentin Hines, Super Bowl champion. I'm ready. Let's do it. I'm on.
Hi, I'm Mars Edwards from Mercury Stadium, and you're watching the Shock Report.
Hey, I'm Billy Butler, and thank you for watching the Shop Report. Hey guys, I'm Les Norman, former Kansas City Royal, and you're watching the Shop Report.
Commander Brown, Detroit Rivers Mountain Training, and I'm watching the Shop Report.
Hey, this is Doug Flynn of the New York Mets. Well, a few other teams, of course, too. And you're watching the Shop Report.
I'm Matt Ramos, and you're watching the Shop Report.
How you doing? I'm Rajay Davis, and you're watching the Shop Report.
How you doing? This is Nelson Figueroa, former Major League pitcher with a lot of teams. You're about to listen to the Shop Report. Hey, this is Howard Johnson.
Jordan Gudeman, and I'm the founder and CEO of Eddie G's Cookies. I was first diagnosed with a nut allergy when I was young. At the time, there weren't a lot of labeled items that said if there may contain nuts or there are nuts in the food, so my brother and sister and I baked a lot at home, and we enjoyed treats from mixes and things like that, but I noticed that it was not the same as what my friends were enjoying, and I started making up my own recipes. When it was time to pick a career, I decided to start a bakery so I could share my treats with everybody else. When I started creating my recipe, I was taking in all the things that I thought I was missing out on. A soft, chewy center, a crisp outside crust, and a taste that is just like it came out of the oven at a bakery. When I put all those things together, I had come up with a recipe for a dream cookie. Eddie G's Cookies only uses the finest ingredients. We have all natural flavorings, no preservatives, and every cookie is made in a nut-free environment. The best part about Eddie G's Cookies is that they can be delivered right to your door. You can share them or not. We won't tell.
Cleaning the cracks on your pavement surfaces can take hours and be torturous on your body. Until now. Buy Cracky Weed Removal Tool was designed specifically to clean pavement cracks in a fraction of the time, all while standing up. Buy Cracky's patented design incorporates a two-sided steel blade and is encased by a durable fiberglass shell. Simply use the large end to clean big gaps, then rotate and use the small tip for narrow gaps. Made in the USA, Buy Cracky eliminates weeds to the root and is environmentally friendly. Buy Cracky. Save your back while you clean your crack.
All right, and just like that, we are back and diving right into Raw with a quick recap. We kicked things off with Drew McIntyre, who, of course, wanted to make sure that we knew CM Punk will bleed and feel more pain in their Hell in a Cell match than Punk has ever felt in his entire existence. Gully, what do you think here? Is he going to deliver on this, or are we going to shoot on this, or is this going to be one of those like, hey, Roman and Brock is going to bleed and nobody bled? Nobody makes me bleed my own blood. Nobody.
Man. You know what? I feel like this is a feud that should be leading to world title. Let's say consequences or opportunities. And absent that, it just feels flat for me. Like, I really don't think that they got a beef that's worth. I should say, I feel like they have a beef that should be worth world title implications or universal title implications. And it's not there.
You know, and I kind of echo that. It's a little disappointing for me because there's real emotion that is there, and I feel like they need to channel it a little bit better. I felt like they had some momentum maybe a month or so ago, and it's been, unfortunately, more talk, less bumps, and it hasn't worn me out quite in the way that, say, the Wyatt Six and Dark Gable had, but it certainly is flirting along those lines. Certainly, we're not at the passion fruit level yet. But yeah, so hopefully they deliver on that. And this is truthfully where I will say, despite me feeling that way, I do believe that they actually will, that they're capable. That is where I would trust both of their in-ring abilities. And so I hope that the lack of bumps taking place in those few months will allow for it to actually really take place when it matters most at this PLE.
Yeah, see, bull rope matches are just a lot of slapping each other across the back and then the ropes. They're inside of the cell, so they'll be able to do a lot. So I'm expecting to do a lot more. Or since they have all of their limbs available, they'll be able to show more of a traditional wrestling match, which I'd like to see them both do it. So perhaps that's why I'm not kind of tuning totally out of it. I just wanted to get somewhere, and maybe the sale of the match is where it will. So I'm actually kind of looking forward to it. Just the mic talk, like I'm not here for it. I'm like not interested. It's not like Stone Cold and The Rock delivering on the mic, Randy Orton or Cena delivering on the mic, Cody Rhodes or Paul Heyman delivering on the mic.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Something I do want to at least make note of is Io Sky is still fire in the squared circle. She is still delivering.
Yes.
They were victorious, of course, this evening as well. But I want to make sure her flowers are given because that stuff is still certainly appreciated. Now, I wanted to get your thoughts on this because a vignette did appear, and it looks like it's pretty self-explanatory that, and even this sentiment was echoed by Jim Ross, of all people, that the luchadors were going to be signed to WWE, and that would appear to be their initials. However, there's an alternate theory of mine as well, that this actually could be the return of the Viking Warriors. And because if you were to like do that in Nordic, essentially, it would spell out war. And so,
what would you prefer?
You know, the thing, this is where I'm kind of torn as well. Because if the Viking Raiders, and they could be the War Machine, which is they were the War Raiders, if memory serves me correct, when they were within NXT. But if it's Ray Phoenix in those guys, then my concern with that coming straight from AEW is they're going to somehow end up in a feud with LWO and Carlito, and then they end up being wasted talent. So I guess I'm a little torn from a creative standpoint. Unfortunately, I feel like I've said it a few times, like, what are you going to do with Dragon Lee and some of these guys? Like, maybe that is the answer for that. And maybe they're able to absolutely put on a fantastic show because you now finally have like the same way that we just talked about Ricochet, right? Being able to thrive in that type of environment. And maybe that would allow for them to do exactly that. We've talked about kind of the tag team division as a whole on the men's side being maybe not lackluster, but certainly not what it once was. And again, so either way, I would lean towards kind of on the Raiders side just because I know what they can do.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, history speaks for itself, even in a recency bias with what they do typically with the luchadors. So just doesn't kind of bode well for them. But Jim Ross seems to think that is going to be the luchadors coming over. But I just wanted to see if you felt if you were partial one way or the other.
Well, the Viking Raiders gives us more. I don't say more. Gives us a different tag team to the mix. So contrast to the other luchador, small, high flyer tag teams that already exist. So that'd be cool for the Viking Raiders to come back. I wasn't as big a fan of them, but maybe they needed more time. And injury is what sidelined the whole push anyway. So perhaps it might be good for them to come back. I think this is more toward the a Viking Raiders iconography than Lucha Libre or Luchador. So I'm banking on it being the Viking Raiders, and I like for them to come back, and maybe I'll have more enthusiasm for them this time.
Yeah, I kind of felt like they were shelved, and it didn't. They just kind of disappeared one day,
right?
And so, yeah, I'm kind of that's what kind of concerns me either way, right? It depends what you do creatively, and I feel like one has a higher ceiling just because of their diversity and not just racially.
Right.
And we'll see, I suppose. Something I forgot to point out earlier when we talked about the direction with Yeet and ultimately him becoming champion is Sami Zayn, kind of was wishing him luck here. Is this where they plan on going with it, and how do you feel about it?
Wasn't Sami Zayn just fighting with somebody by the name of Gunther?
Yes.
So what is he going out there for? To quote Bret Hart.
Oh man. I look, I here's where I'm struggling with this, right? Because I said it a little earlier. I'm like, I felt like, okay, hey, this is set up for Mania. We're gonna have John Cena going to get, go and get this IC title, be able to call it a career. And him versus Yeet, I don't.
You keep pushing that button. I'm sorry. John Cena don't need no Intercontinental Championship.
Yes, he does.
Want it. He don't need it, man.
To stroke his own ego. Yes, he does.
Watch what you say to me at 12:46 in the morning.
Then why is Sami Zayn wishing him luck?
Because it ain't got nothing to do with John Cena. Now, Sami Zayn getting back in the Intercontinental title picture, it makes sense. It makes sense for Sami Zayn. But why Sami Zayn? That's kind of cool. I don't see. To me, I feel like, this is an angle that has been here before. It doesn't serve much of a purpose to resurrect again. You've already put a reminiscent bloodline tie together by having Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns together to match up against the bloodline. Perhaps maybe this is a preview of what you want to do developmentally for Survivor Series, but I don't really think I need to see it again. I think they kind of moved on. To me, it just seemed like unnecessary to go back there. There was nothing there for them to rekindle. This isn't like a Shield pseudo reunion or hey, remember what we were once, that sort of thing. It is nothing nearly on the level of that.
I'm as shocked as anyone that I thought for sure Braun was going to retain.
I did too.
Because I creatively don't see the angle with Yeet. I understand he's deserving. I am not
correct.
I said this before, like there's a creative logjam here. Like this is the version of I've never hit a mental wall creatively with the volume of talent that they have in trying to appease all of these guys that are naturally worthy.
And somehow you think it'll help by putting the Intercontinental title on John Cena. But I digress.
No. That's at Mania. That's at Mania.
I don't care what Mania or
that
what
allows more farts to happen in seats. All right.
Interesting way to put that. But I don't care about farting in seats with John Cena having the Intercontinental title.
Gully, you got to now you have no choice but to shoot on this. Yeet is your champion. What is Sami Zayn doing there?
I don't know. That's what I say. I don't know. Maybe it's a tune-up for, all right, hey, let's put it together. Hey, you remember you owe me one. You know what I mean? I owe you one. We had an understanding. It would be great for me to try to work his way back. Now, it could work into a heel turn for Sami Zayn.
Which should have already occurred when, look, they dropped the ball with Gable's heel turn, coincidentally, with Sami Zayn.
Right. They just left that alone. And I don't know what's happening now with Dark Gable. I have no idea.
Dark Gable is somehow the light Gable, and we're all over the place with him.
So for Sami Zayn to turn heel, that wouldn't be bad. And this would be a way to do it. Sami Zayn to go heel again by virtue of having a program with Yeet, but regarding the Intercontinental title. But if that's the case, they go for it. But if you having the face rivalry, it doesn't really work well. It's kind of pointless.
And that is ultimately my struggle here with this is establishing a program that isn't bloodline related and that will ultimately set up. And again, to your point, I think a Braun Yeet and leading into a Sami Zayn heel turn, because I think this is just kind of one of those things that you'll have to kind of stay tuned with, because let's say Sami goes and because otherwise, to Bret Hart's point about what am I doing out there? What are you really doing out there if you're there to promote Sami Zayn being a worthy opponent for Gunther, only for him to lose and then go after Yeet? I mean, other than mending the fence and trying to, build the bridge back between the two, I think it was a wasted opportunity overall, but very well. I mean, I would shoot on that. I would be okay with it. And then, of course, just a reminder that the Passion Fruit Collecting still exists, and they have opened not a can of anything, just an open challenge for anyone in the locker room.
Wait a minute. You call them passion fruit juice.
Uh-huh.
Is that your nickname for them?
Yes, it is.
All right, cool.
Yes, it is.
Because there's, let me move on before we say something.
You took it there. You took it there. The Shop Report After Dark. And guess what? Any final thoughts from you on Raw this evening with the passion fruit juice? Raw.
There's nothing passionate, fruity, or juicy about the three. Let's move on.
Fair enough. And that, ladies and gentlemen, leads into our final segment of the evening now until morning, which of course is none other than Name That Superstar.
All right.
Kelly, I have gone as far as I'm going to try to open this image on a third party program to make sure there's no, absolutely, like 4.5. It's not even really an L, unfortunately. So I have now taken it to greater lengths to ensure that there's somehow no URL. I've retitled the image. The only giveaway here is that it says it is titled Old Man. That is the only hint you will be getting in the URL from this time. If that was somehow how you were getting away with this, but I don't believe that was the case. And so stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen, for Name That Superstar. And D. Gully, will
Oh,
be.
keep me on suspense. You're going to cut the commercial before I start? Oh,
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
What it do, sports fans? It's your man BSJ from the Shop Report. And guess what? The shop is now open for business, baby. If you're on Facebook, go to our fan page, The Shop Report, click on more, and then shop to view all products. Or if you're on Instagram, click on the shop tab to see all our products. I mean, what you want me to do? I'm selling merch here.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we've made it. You've made it with us. D Gully, are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Okay. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, D Gully, name that superstar.
Hold on, give me a moment. No URL. No, I'm looking at no context clues. I'm giving. Aside from the tattoo. And it's not Glacier.
It is not Glacier.
Hold on. Give me one more guess. Boy, what's that boy's name? I see his face. More prominent.
So I will give you a little bit of a hint here.
Don't give me a hint. Don't give me a hint.
No hints yet?
I don't know. I don't want a hint yet. Oh gosh. That name doesn't sound right. It doesn't sound right. I want to say Balls Mahoney.
No.
Okay. Who is it?
All right.
You can give me the hint.
Okay, I'm going to give you the hint.
I'll take a half a point on this.
This individual was someone who beat the tag team champion Steiner brothers. He ultimately was ousted and released by the company due to a conflict with the Clique.
Oh, he's a WWF guy.
That's right. And for time frame.
Wait, don't see it. The conflict with the Clique. He didn't like the Clique. It was not. It was a good guy that didn't like Douglas. Shane Douglas. All right, I'm taking the L on that one. Who is it?
PCO, otherwise known as John Pierre Lafitte.
Oh, got me on that one.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I believe in redemption. And the same way that I was giving you, or I was throwing a second one at you when
You got it wrong when I was on fire.
That's right.
You know what, man? No. Let's. Oh, you already did it.
Now, this individual, of course, was right around that mid-90s time frame. Did have an affiliation with NWA, AWA, and WCW, and is the son of a legendary wrestler as well.
Yeah, he looked like a Wyndham. He looked like Kendall.
Name that superstar.
He looks like a Wyndham. I think I'm. Oh boy, NWA, AWA, WCW.
That's right.
And the stalker named Barry Windham. Dang, he looks like a Wyndham. That ain't because you already gave me Barry Windham. Gosh, he looks like a Wyndham. I don't know, who is he?
It is Barry Windham, otherwise known as the Stalker.
Oh! Yo, I think you gave me Barry Windham already, though. That's why I didn't want to guess him. I think you gave me. I think that was one of my first.
Whoa. That was never in the cards that he couldn't recycle it.
Oh, bro. So you. Nah, that's why I couldn't guess him because I didn't know that wasn't in the cards. I think that was one of my first ones. I think that if that wasn't the first name that superstar you gave me, the first or second, we gotta check the tapes. That's why I said like Kendall. I was like, I don't even remember what Kendall Windham looked like. Even if there is a Kendall Windham, I thought I read that name because I was actually earlier today. I just happened to do like a retrospective, and I just happened to be looking at Bray Wyatt's biography. I mean, Bray Wyatt, third generation superstar, and he talked about his family. And he had, Wyndham Rotunda, of course, his dad, Mike Rotunda, and his uncle, Barry Windham. And I thought there was another Kendall. And I don't even think I remember much what Kendall looked like. But I was like, that's why I say, man, he looked like a Wyndham. So, all right. So I know I struck out the first one. I think I get a credit for this one. But I'm inclined to take a no contest on this one because I think you already had given me Barry Windham when we started this contest. So,
oh, that's fair. Okay,
I wouldn't make this one a no contest.
Well, now wait a minute. Then we have time for one more.
No. Save it for next week. Save it for next week because I like this game. I don't want you to.
Oh no! I believe me. I have these all day long. Last chance for romance for D Gully. Again, these are all from the same time frame, which is right in your mid-90s wheelhouse, Puff Daddy?
All right, that's not Gangrel. It's not Gangrel.
No, as much as I would love that, I feel like that would be too easy.
Yeah. All right. Let's see.
But your hate for the Brood as well.
I was not a fan. I can't
believe it. Best intro.
I was not a fan.
Can you believe that? You love the Edge. And the Edge has acknowledged he couldn't hold it in. It was so good. He couldn't. He broke like Saturday Night Live. In its prime, watching Chris Farley.
I was not a fan. I was not a fan. It just missed me, bro. Some things just miss you. Like I was not a fan. I understand. I know that, man. I got to give it respect. It just missed me. I just did not connect.
I've never heard of this can that they're holding. I mean, it is a lager based on what I'm seeing.
Or beer, German. That's not That's Wonder Kid. That's not Alex Wright, is it?
No, this is from not. This individual is over 70 years old today. And he also, and if you guys in the comments, by all means, it's not limited to D Gully. If you guys could beat D Gully, by all means, do so.
Yeah,
I would be I would love that actually, because even though it feels like Stump the Schwab,
he's over 70.
Over
right.
70. He is. Let's see. Let's see if I can give you an additional hint here. He debuted in July of 1996.
Debuted in July of 96, over 70.
That's right. Was signed by the WWF in 1996. Name that superstar. Right now, Adam Sandler is filming Happy Gilmore 2.
Hold on. Nails. Nah, bro. Yeah, I'm stumped on that one. Somebody got it.
He had one of the most unconvincing finishing moves ever.
It wasn't a leg drop, so I can't say. Nah, bro, you just gonna have to run that one. You got
it. Was called the cross check.
Oh, he was the hockey guy.
That's right. Bill Irwin is his name, otherwise known as the Goon.
Oh, gosh.
And the Goon, of course, had one of the most unconvincing finishing moves ever, known as the cross check, which was a forearm blow to the back. The gimmick is otherwise known as one of the one on the poorer side of WWE history. And unfortunately, it lasted a little under 2 months. Yeah. So something we are trying to stick with currently is folks that are still with us before I run out, unfortunately, of those. And so shout out to Bill Irwin. You are getting some love on this program. Of course, shout out to the Stalker, Mr. Wyndham as well. And who else am I forgetting here? I know there was, I think I had one more. Oh, yes. And of course, JPL at one point, of course, which was none other, of course, a Wild Bill Irwin, again, otherwise known as the Goon, but PCO, Pierre Carl Oulet, is, of course, and again, that was our first guy, and he's still jacked today.
Yeah. So yeah,
again, PCO is with TNA,
right? So that means that I need to get a workout in.
That's right.
Right.
I'm still. That's not. That was a universal yes to me as well.
Yeah. I'm still young enough to hit fitness goals that I never hit in my younger years. And the goal is to do so.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so again, Gully, any final thoughts from you on next week's Raw? Again, some of those matches you have already mentioned were Kofi and Gable, Xavier Woods, Rey Mysterio, and then, of course, the last Monster Standing match. That is what is known thus far. And I'm sure Rikishi is pleased with Yeet. And but anything specifically from you now that you've been stumped as well?
Yeah, I need to get back on my game and watching and looking at these guys from yesteryear and respecting what the legacy of wrestling, professional wrestling before us. So that way I can get some of these figures back. As far as looking forward to next week, I am, and I'd like to be able to live report some really good matches between Xavier Woods and Rey Mysterio as well. That being said, we got a pay-per-view next weekend, right?
That's right. Well,
yeah.
Wait a minute. Yeah, it should be. Let's see here.
It got to be next week because Hell in the Cell is middle of October. Or is it this Saturday? Can't be this Saturday, is it?
No, Bad Blood is October 5th.
Oh, I say Hell in the Cell this Saturday. My bad. Hell in the Cell match will happen at Bad Blood October 5th.
That's right.
So, yeah, Daddy Dom is winning again. He's being set up inside of a cage, and his let's say his flames are going to be battling for him. So Daddy Dom keep winning. I encourage you all to live a life so that way you keep winning like Daddy Dom. And you know what? Nothing more to be said. We'll see y'all next week whenever that time comes. So Double J, you got anything more for the fans before we tell them what they can do?
You know what? Again, I appreciate everybody. As I mentioned before, just some housekeeping things. Of course, Buy Cracky, Eddie G's, both on Amazon. Get it sent right directly to your door. And of course, if you want your business here in the corner and your ads playing throughout, again, reach of over 250,000 across all platforms, as you saw. Definitely want to say to everyone that was watching, we appreciate you guys as well. Shout out Detroit Fan Man. We will be returning, of course, on Saturday, just a few short days, breaking down all the latest in sports. Again, MLB with the playoffs coming up will be a topic of conversation. Obviously, the WNBA will be in the swing of things as well with the playoffs, and of course, some college football, etc. So, as always, you can hit us up on any of our social channels. As you see, What You Mean Gully, the Shop Report, of course, at the Shop Report across all of those. Get your merch as well delivered to your door.
Get your merch.
There you go. Support the program, and naturally, you can subscribe as well. Get you some prime placement on and some access to the Discord, amongst other things.
Yeah,
so,
we got different ways, and I can tell them. Let me tell them. All right,
go for it.
Well, I can say, tell you where to find us, tell you how to reach us. We do talk back, and we talk all that smack. If you're out there, you don't know what's going on in the sports, the next time, if you really want to know what's going on, come to the shop. Why? Because walk-ins are always welcome. Holla.